Great pleasure now to bring on board Mr. Vivek Kumar Dewangan, Chairman and Managing Director of REC. And REC, to introduce the company, they are in the business of power financing. And I'm just simply breaking it for our viewers. What they do is they lend capital to companies and discoms, which essentially are building a future or which are in the business of power generation, even for that matter, power distribution. Mr. Kumar, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning.
So nice to have you back. I'll start with a very basic data point, which is that the power demand for the quarter gone by has been low. The PLI schemes have taken a back seat, and the government, at least at state level, which is discoms, they're not signing any contracts. Is that impacting your business? And could that impact your Q4?
Yeah, let me first clarify that power demand in the country has been increasing at the rate of 8 to 9%. And this year, the Central Electricity Authority, that is technical arm of the Ministry of Power, they projected that the peak demand of the country may touch 270 gigawatt. And most of this peak power will come from the coal-based power plants. We are not concerned that there are some time lag actually for signing of the PPA, particularly for the renewable energy contracts. We are targeting to play a very constructive and active role for energy transition that is taking place in the country. You're right that for transmission lines, evacuation, and this coming up of the renewable energy generation plant, there is some 5-6 months delay is there. But we hope that eventually, since renewable energy is the cheapest source of power right now, it is coming out 2.5 to 3 rupee per unit, while the coal-based power costs more than 4.5 rupee per unit. So there will always be demand for renewable energy because of the purely on economic ground, and we are quite hopeful that these PPAs will eventually be signed.
Confirming to us is that Q4 then will not be a subdued quarter. Your disbursements are strong, irrespective of what has happened to electricity demand, where discoms and transmission new contracts have not been signed. The disbursements for REC would be in double digit for the quarter gone by.
Yes, in fact, our disbursement had increased by 19% at the end of quarter 3 by 31st December 2024. And we expect this momentum to continue. Last year, in the entire year, our total disbursement was 1,61,000 crore. And we already crossed this bar in the first week of March itself. And we hope to maintain this disbursement will increase by 18 to 19% or maybe go up to 20% depending on the requirement of the state utilities. So this outlook is quite positive. Our disbursement will continue to grow next year also because we have huge pipeline of projects. Both conventional generation, transmission, distribution, we have sanctioned number of projects. And for renewable energy projects also, there is huge pipeline projects we have already signed as sanctioned, and the disbursement are going to pick up now from 2025-26 to 2028-29. That's why we are targeting that our asset under management will grow to about 10 lakh crore. Earlier, we are targeting that it will touch 10 lakh crore AUM by the end of 2030. But if we are able to maintain growth of 14 to 15% in our loan book, we might perhaps reach this target of AUM 10 lakh crore even earlier than 2030, maybe 2029 itself will be able to achieve that loan book growth.
Interesting you say that. Mr. Dewangan, your board has recently approved an increased in market borrowing program as well, from the earlier 1.6 lakh crores to now 1.8 lakh crores for FY25. Wanted to understand what was the reason for the same, and is it demand that is driving this increase, or is it the cost of funds that the company wants to manage better?
Both factors are there. Actually, we have been able to manage our cost of fund. Last year, at the end of Q3, our cost of fund was 7.28%, but this year in FY25, by end of 31st December 2025, our cost of fund has come down by 13 BPS to about 7.15%. And the borrowing is dependent on that kind of disbursement that is happening. Since disbursement are increasing significantly, we'll have to borrow in that proportion. That's why our borrowing will also, we have projected that we might have to borrow up to 1,80,000 crore.
Right. Good morning, sir. This is Shailu joining in the conversation, and I just wanted to take that conversation forward. I wanted to understand about your NIMs, because you are pretty confident about your NIMs. We're hoping that you can actually sustain or maintain it around that 3.65 to 3.75%. In Q3 as well, your NIMs were stable. What's your projection on that particular front going ahead?
We have been able to maintain our spread about 2.94 to 2.95%. And NIM was about 3.64% at the end of the quarter three. Although we expect that there will be rate cut both domestically and internationally, but this will bring down our cost of fund, and we'll like to pass on the benefit of cost of fund down, cost coming down to our borrowers. But we hope that we'll be able to maintain our NIM, because NIMs are result of cost of borrowing and yield on loans. This will be able to maintain. Our NIMs would be in the range of 3.65% to 3.75%. You have rightly pointed out.
Okay, now you've done very well on NPAs. NPAs have not gone up. But when the sector per se is going through this slowdown, could they come back again?
No, it is not likely to happen. We have burnt our fingers earlier in private sector coal-based power plant, because this private sector coal-based power plant had become stressed because of two reasons. One was cancellation of coal block. They lost their coal linkage, and some of the power plant, they did not have PPAs. Now, going forward, for both conventional generation and renewable, we start disbursement only when all things are tied up. Coal linkage is there, the PPAs are in place. Similarly, for renewable energy projects, we start disbursement only when the PPAs are in place. So I don't think there will be no new NPA in our kitty going forward. And in fact, we are quite confident we'll be able to resolve this all ongoing stress asset by December 2025. And we are expecting good recovery also. The recovery may range from 2,500 crore to about 3,000 crore from the operating assets. And some of the plants which are heading towards liquidation, that will also reach to its logical conclusion. By the end of this financial year, by December 2025, we expect to reach this zero net NPA. And this will be able to sustain.
Specifically on the disbursements also, sir, because 55% of your total sanctions over the past 2 to 3 years are yet to be disbursed. Your shareholders and viewers of the channel really want to know when will disbursements happen, and more importantly, what's been causing the delay?
Actually, let me say that there are two components. One is conventional generation, transmission, and distribution. For conventional distribution, the revamped distribution sector scheme was launched by Ministry of Power in the year 2021. But however, due to COVID and some other factors, the award of the works for loss reduction works got delayed. Now the loss reduction work is picking up. So more of disbursement is likely to happen in the year 2025-26. Similarly, for coal-based generation, you know that initial 1 or 2 years, not much disbursement takes place, but from third year to fifth year, most of the disbursement happens. There also, we are expecting an uptick in the disbursement in conventional generation. And the turnaround time for the renewable energy projects are quite fast. They get commissioned within a period of 2 to 3 years. There, we already crossed first year of sanction. Now, second and third year, lot of disbursement are likely to happen. Then we also sanction large hydro projects. Large hydro project also, that most of disbursement happen in the third year onwards. So we do expect that next 3 to 4 years, our disbursement will increase substantially when all these ongoing projects come to their full steam.
What are the new sectors, Mr. Dewangan, that you're planning to enter into financing? Because there was talk that, you've talked about infra, logistics, and even nuclear financing.
In fact, Honorable Finance Minister during her budget speech has announced that India is targeting to install about 100 gigawatt capacity from nuclear power by the year 2047. It means the next 22 years, the 100 gigawatt capacity means roughly 1 lakh megawatt capacity would be added. The cost of nuclear plant in the country for pressurized heavy water reactor is about 13 to 14 crore per megawatt. So this will entail an investment about 13 lakh crore to 14 lakh crore. And if we take debt equity ratio of 70-30, the total debt which will be required for the installation of 100 gigawatt capacity of nuclear power plant is about 10 lakh crore. We expect that we'll be able to take a market share of about 20% of this new potential which has come with regard to nuclear power financing. And by the year 2030, we are expecting our loan book to grow to about 50,000 crore from nuclear power component. We have also been allowed by Ministry of Power to diversify into non-power infrastructure logistics. But since our hands are full with our conventional generation, now new nuclear power component has come up, renewable energy. Renewable energy, we are covering entire gamut of the value chain from solar wind, hybrid solar wind to large hydro projects, solar module manufacturing, wind turbine manufacturing, electric mobility and associated charging infrastructure, green hydrogen, green ammonia. So we do hope that we'll be able to sustain this momentum. And that's why for non-power infrastructure logistics, we are a bit choosy nowadays. We'll be sanctioning only those non-power infrastructure logistics projects where revenue cash flows are assured, asset quality is good, and entity rating is good.
A simple follow-up question. You are quite clear in terms of where the business is moving. But I have one data which says that only 55% of your total approved sanctions were dispersed. In last 3 years, you've not dispersed 40% broadly of your total approvals. So if you're so confident about power sector, low NPAs, why have you only distributed or dispersed 55 to 60% of your total sanctions?
As I had explained to you earlier, let me go segment-wise. Distribution sector. Distribution sector, our sanction were with regard to counterpart funding of RDSS for loss reduction work. These works are now picking up. Actually, they were a bit slowed down. Now, from the year 2025-26, it will pick up. The distribution sector, a lot of disbursement will happen in next 2 years. Similarly, for conventional generation, coal-based generation, the first 2 years, the disbursement are a bit sluggish. Then disbursement, as the progress of this turbine generator unit and all picks up, the disbursement increases again from 3rd to 5th year. The similar thing happens in case of large hydro projects. There also, in first 2 years, the disbursement is not that much. And what happens that in first 2 years, the developers, they want to put up their equity first. They first put up their equity, then only they avail loan after 3rd year onward. For renewable energy, the disbursement is quicker as compared to conventional generation and large hydro projects. That's why we expect that all these sanctions, which we have sanctioned this project, the disbursement will grow substantially in next 2 to 3 years.
Fair point. Now, just to clear one question, you've referred to the whole order book, but time and again, when the stock prices of REC and PFC, they go down, markets start imagining that they will end up giving loan to Vodafone. You'll appreciate the spirit of my question. Why don't you say, nahi denge, jor se?
That's what we had clarified. That
Sir, once again, every time this buzz keeps on coming, I will record and I will play this question again, answer again and again. But ab jor se boliye nahi denge.
We are telecom sector is out of purview of REC. That we have already told at various forum. Telecom sector, because the reason being that our hands are full with our conventional coal-based generation, transmission, distribution sector, renewable energy projects. Now nuclear power has given a new opportunity. So that's why we are a bit slow on non-power infrastructure logistics, and particularly on telecom sector, it is new area, it is unknown territory for us. We are not venturing into telecom sector.
Defense, sir?
Defense, right now, no such proposal have come. If any viable projects come, and again, it has to be from the harmonized list of infrastructure projects, which is notified by Department of Economic Affairs, then only we'll be able to consider. Again, the guiding factor will be that revenue cash flow should be sufficient to meet our repayment obligation, asset quality should be good, and the entity rating should be good.
Put some numbers here and then we'll wrap the discussion. You've been very accommodative with your time. If I, let's say, plot a timeline for REC, FY26 to FY28, can I assume that the loan growth would be minimum 15% and the disbursement growth could be minimum 18 to 20% on a CAGR basis between FY27 to FY28. Is that a reasonable assumption from my side?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Our loan book is going to want to increase to around 15% next 3 to 4 years, and disbursement would be in the range of 18 to 19% per annum. There will be subsequent growth.
So my balance sheet double. If I use the rule of 72, divide that by 20, that means in 3 years, that's the headline for me, REC is looking at doubling its loan book. Simple.
Yeah, but we are making a conservative estimate. Earlier we had prayed that our loan book will be doubled to 10 lakh crore by the year 2030. But now we expect that we'll be able to touch this 10 lakh crore by the year 2029 itself.
So for me, the headline is, you will not lend to the telecom sector. NPAs will be 0. Loan book of 20%. If not 3.5 years, 3 years. If not 3 years, 3.5 years, you will double your loan book.
Yes.
And when will the stock double then? Everybody wants to know that. When will the stock double?
So that market response based on our performance, we are quite confident that we'll be able to maintain our performance.
Yeah, like they always say, markets always follow earnings. If you grow at this rate with this kind of an NP, I'm sure stock will double before 3 years. I can assure you that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, Grish Pai joins us, and Grish Pai.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.